the college application or sharing our thoughts and experiences about how college admissions has changed since COVID, and we will cover those topics and more in future newsletters and webinars, but we wanted to take advantage of having everyone gathered in person together to do something that probably doesn't happen nearly enough in the college search process. One of my favorite admissions blogs is from a writer at Georgia Tech, and it had a great bit of advice last January. When I read it, I thought, yes, this is why we had this panel, the college night. The blog entry, which is directed to parents. It's students, whenever I say parents, they substitute older students, as I read. It goes like this. When your kids were little and you were struggling with potty training or getting your baby to sleep through the night, did you seek advice and insight from other parents in the same chapter? No, because they were either just as clueless or frustrated as you were, maddeningly oblivious, prone to lie, exaggerate, or hide the reality of their situation. The same is true when it comes to college admissions. Other parents of kids in high school often have just enough information to sound informed, but frequently serve to proliferate inaccuracy and consternation. You know, the valedictorian 3 years ago didn't get in. It's easier to get in from that high school 3 miles away because they don't have an ID like we do. Generous generalizations and liberal-sounding phrases like, yes, mostly it is and it is, or for SAT is around the 1400 should send your PS radar way up in cases like this. Walk away, my friends. Dismiss, change the subject, and don't let those comments stress you out. The bottom line is, parents of high school students should talk to fewer parents of high school students about college admission and more parents of current college students or recent college graduates. These folks who are one chapter ahead invariably provide perspective, levity, insight, and sanity. They are far less prone to exaggeration and, in fact, often incredibly raw and honest in their evaluation. She was crushed when she did not get into that school, but now she's at this other school and is not soaring. Or we didn't get the financial aid package we needed for him to go to one school. So he ended up in another college. He graduates this spring and already has a great job lined up at the company where he's been an intern. Again, seek perspective, levity, insight, and sanity from parents of current college students, and spend your time talking to parents of other high school students about the upcoming game or the recently opened restaurant in your area. So that's what we're going to set you up to do tonight, to hear from those who are a step or two ahead of you on this road. Some of these good questions that we will respond to in direct emails when I hold you for questions for this panel, and some were exactly along the lines of what we already planned to ask. So, without further delay, we're going to turn it over to our panelists. I am going to allow each of them to introduce themselves by sharing a name, a little bit about their connection to St. Andrews, and just share a general overview about their approach or their family's approach to the college search process. Taylor, you want to kick it off? And the microphone's in the middle.
Sure. My name is Taylor Thompson. I graduated from St. Andrews in 2017, and I went to the University of Virginia after that to study architecture, and I got my master's in finance right after that. I moved back to Austin in July, and I think that the thing that was kind of unique to my family's approach to the college process was that I didn't tour a school before I applied there, and so I didn't tour any schools until I got in, and the rationale behind that was if I was to tour before I applied, it felt like the school was choosing me, but when I visited the school after I had been accepted, I felt like I was choosing the school, and so I had a much much different mindset during those tours, and the questions that I was going to ask was very different, because I was really trying to decide whether or not I could see myself going there, rather than hypothetically, will I be going there in the future? And so that worked really well for me. I know that might not necessarily work out for everyone, but it provided kind of a unique experience for me as I was coming to my decision about where I wanted to go to school after St. Andrews.
Hello, good evening. My name is Lysander Lip. I have 2 kids that graduated from St. Andrews. The first one, Nikki, she graduated in 2017. And the second one, Jonathan, graduated in 2019. So the college application process for us was a little bit unique for me because I am a health applicator, and to see that goal that you guys saw earlier today, that it needs to be student driven, that was very difficult for me. I always had opinions and always had control what I tell my kids. And my 2 kids, they went through very different processes because Nikki, she had made up her mind very early on that she was going to be an engineer. So that narrowed down the focus in terms of what she was looking for. So for Nikki, it was more about the school size and the environment and trying to figure out exactly which one is better fit for her. Jonathan was the exact opposite. He could do anything. He wanted to do anything. So he did not decide. A lot of the things that he eventually decided on were done at the very, very last moment. And so that was a different process for him. But so Nikki now graduated from A&M, Texas A&M last year, and she now works for Dow Chemicals in Victoria, Texas. Jonathan is graduating next year with a hopefully a degree in psychology, and I'm not sure what the plans are after that.
Hi everyone. My name is Aislinn Lyman, and I graduated from St. Andrews in 2021, so pretty recently. And I'm currently a sophomore at the University of Texas here. I'm majoring in marketing, so very exciting. I'd say my experience was definitely unique because of COVID, obviously. I was applying right after kind of all that went down, so it was very hectic because there was all this talk of admissions going up, and everyone was applying, and people who had taken a gap year or deferred the year before, it's making admissions a little, kind of confusing. And so I definitely applied to a large amount of schools because I kind of had no idea where I was going to end up, and I also really wanted to go out of state. So I also had a unique experience where I ended up here, and I ended up loving it, and it was part of my journey. But I think it was really interesting to have tons of schools on my list because it was a lot of work. But I definitely had options, and it was really interesting to kind of figure out through that process what I did end up wanting, and learning about that, especially with it being such a unique year and wondering, how my year was going to look like going to that school during COVID and things like that. So very interesting.
Hi everyone, my name is Phil Cowan, proud parent of 2 lifers from St. Andrews. My daughter Katie was a 2018 grad. She went on to Davidson College, North Carolina, where she was English and history major, and now she's pursuing her postgraduate work at University of St. Andrews in Scotland. My son Jack was a 2020 grad. He's currently at St. Lawrence University in New York. And he is a math and econ double major with a CS minor. Kind of similar to your story, my kids are really bookends. One of our children was really knew what she wanted to do, was highly organized, and as a result, it was kind of we were able to take a much lighter touch. My other child was, like yours, very interested in a lot of different things. So it was really hard for him to start narrowing down the kinds of schools he wanted to look at. On top of that, he was a reluctant writer, so it made the essay process pretty interesting. But as a sum it up by your noses in, fingers out, where we try to be really supportive, but we really want to make it their process. And as you go through this, there'll be those moments where that'll be one of the most difficult things for you to do, but as a surviving parent, I can tell you that you're going to make it through just fine, and your kids are going to make it through just fine because they are so well prepared coming St. Andrews.
All right, so the first question that we have for all of you is, what was a big challenge for you in this process? And parents, this could be for you or for your students. I think you'll hear this again and again, and you'll experience it for sure, is just finding that right balance of when you should kind of step in and when you should back off. As you go through the process, there's these just absolutely wonderful moments you'll go through. I distinctly remember a ride with my daughter driving between Williams and Middlebury, where we really had a relationship-changing conversation, and I cherish that. It's just the two of us and talking about her hopes and dreams as she's going forward. And then there was those moments where it's like, the deadline's tomorrow. And just really trying to find that balance of, and staying committed to that it's their process and embracing it and knowing that it's going to work out at the back end. I think for us, that was our biggest challenge.
I say for me, like kind of on the other side of that as a student who was being pressured by your parents to get stuff done. And my little brother is a senior, and he's also doing that right now, so he's having that experience, and he'll always be like, "Oh, mom's like, can you turn this in?" And it's definitely like hard to find the balance. But I would say like on the student end, it's also about learning where you kind of have to take your own initiative, because you have counselors who are motivating you, you have parents who are motivating you, and everybody wants what's best for you. But it's something that you also have to want. And so it's really important, like, it's a step into kind of the direction of adulting that you're going to have to take in college, where you're like learning how to take initiative for yourself. And so just like being aware that it is a lot of work and like it does take a lot of time, but the people who are motivating you are on your side. And so the more work that like you can initiate yourself, and the more that you can motivate yourself, the less that it's going to be something that you feel like is being forced on you by someone else. So that definitely helps me like kind of change my perspective, was to just be like, this is something that obviously I have to do, and I want to get you a good college too, and I know that my mom has that same goal, and so we're both going to work towards that.
So challenges for the family, it was not the process. So my two kids had great counselors at St. Andrews that made sure that they did what was needed at what time. So I did not feel like my kids were struggling through the application process. Everything was on time and delivered exactly when they were needed. The biggest challenge I think for us is I've got a lot of biases in terms of growing up in Asia. There were like some majors that you want to get into and some majors you don't want to be part of. And like universities you want to get into and universities you don't want to get into. This is so the student is driven by them. It's not where you want them to go or what you want them to do. At the end of the day, it's their life. And for me, the biggest challenge is really staying off and letting them make that decision. To some extent, I was successful, but I wish I could have done it better. So that's my biggest challenge.
I think one of the most challenging things is just how much time it takes between the applications and the essays and scholarship essays and the financial aid essays and applications. It's just so many things that you have to do that it just takes up so much time. I remember when I was a sophomore, it was always if you could make it through Dr. Garza's data projects, if you could make it through Mr. Works' English class your junior year, you were smooth sailing through your senior year. And it was a huge wake-up call fall of senior year to have to go through the whole college application process because it's like another class, it's like another AP class to a certain extent, because there's just so many different things that you have to consider. And so I think it definitely taught me to a greater extent time management, and something that's definitely something that I carry with me throughout college. But I think that the most challenging thing is just how much time it takes up.
Thank you so much. We're going to swing to the positive just a little bit. And what was a proud moment that you experienced during the process? And parents, once again, that can be for you or for your student.
I think the proudest moment that I had going through the whole process was when I got into UVA. It was definitely a reach school for me. I had a good gauge in VA, I had okay SAT scores, and so when I got into UVA, I was just so extremely happy, and was just kind of proud that all of the time that I put into it and the care that I put into the application and essays really did pay off. And so it was just really good feeling. I remember being at my soccer team dinner, eating chicken Alfredo or some sort of pasta because we had a game the next day, and being surrounded by my teammates when I got in. So I just look back very, very fondly on that moment.
So I'll mention the last proud moment I had as a parent, which is when my daughter Nikki got the job at biochemicals at the beginning of the year. So that was really proud for me because now I know I've done my job, she can be on her own, and I'm done.
I'd say mine's probably pretty similar to yours, except I wasn't 100% sure that I wanted to go somewhere, like when I was getting into schools. So I'd say just like the proudest moment in general is like knowing that first school that you get into, or those first couple like applications that come out, and you find out that like you got some and you didn't get into others. Like it still shows that the work that you put in, like not every school has to notice it, but schools did, and that's what makes me feel like so proud of how much effort you put into it. Is that there are people who want you and who accepted you because they accepted the work that you did, and I think that's when I felt most proud. Was that I knew that I had shown who I was in this application, and that school wanted me for that reason.
I think for me and my wife, the proudest moment we had was seeing our children be so proud of themselves at the end of the process. And they, you'll put in a lot of work, and there's a lot of joy in the process too. And just to see that, when they finally made the decision, and there's that relief and a smile on their faces, and that recognition of, wow, they did it, and it was a lot of work, but hard work paid off. That's just really special.
Thank you all. Okay, so you have some options on this one. Looking back at the process, is there something that you would change or would not change? You can answer either one. Would change or would not change?
I don't think we had great outcomes, and at this point, I don't know if there's anything we really would change, quite frankly. I think the thing we wouldn't change is, and I asked both my kids this in prep for this, and they said the same thing, which is they felt like they applied to the right number of schools. Each of them applied to 9 schools, and I asked them, well, why do you think, in retrospect, why do you think that was a great number? And they said, because a number of their friends were applying to 15. I think one of my daughter's friends applied to 20 schools. And every kid's situation is different, but for them, the comment they made to me was, as I narrowed down on this, I really wanted to focus on those schools and understand what am I searching for for my academic journey and really for my life journey there too. And it allowed them to really dig in deeper, they felt, and be able to make a better decision when that deadline came.
Yeah, I would just say in comment to that, I was one of those people who applied to like 20 schools, and I think I did it because the year was like very confusing. People weren't really sure like how the elections were gonna play out. But I definitely do think it's good to find that happy medium of like not limiting yourself too much and being like, oh, well, I only want to go to this school or this school, but also like not over expanding your area so that you have too many options and then you're not really sure. But I'd say for me, like something that I still think about to this day is definitely like this concept of early decision or early action. Like I know that was something that I was struggling with deciding because I didn't have a school that I loved enough to apply early decision. But I do have a lot of friends who they did have a school they applied to early decision because they loved it so much, and that definitely made their process easier. I know it's not, like, obviously not something everybody's capable of doing because it is that binding agreement, but I would say, like, getting early action, early decision, like, if your kid knows they want to go to, like, one specific school, like, it increases your chances immensely, and it also shows the school how much you really care. And I think I went on a tour at Tulane or something, and, like, the tour guide said that early decision students, it's like 35% acceptance, and then regular was like 5. So it just makes like a huge difference as to recognizing which kids really want to be there. And so while I didn't do that, I still ended up somewhere really great. Like I did apply early to places, and I think that helps get that ball rolling and those ideas flowing. If your kid gets in there and they want to go there, then you know that process is done like before January. It's enlightening, but I'd say like only if your kid really knows, or if you really know that that's where you want to go, obviously.
So I'm going to repeat the same thought again, because Jonathan, before today, I actually asked him what was one thing that he would try to change, and it's limiting the choices that he had. He applied to a lot of universities, and well, not knowing exactly what he wanted to do, he tried to keep everything open. He tried to keep everything open, and that made it a lot more stressful for him because for every school he had to do research. Like, what's the environment like? Is this a good liberal art school? Is this an engineering school? There was a lot of research for every road he opened. So it became a very stressful scenario for him. And it only started getting better when he decided at some point that, okay, I need to target liberal arts. That's what I'm going to go. So then that closed some avenues, things become more manageable, and life became a lot easier.
I think one thing that I would change is I was pretty on the fence about going to a state school. I think you get some special case in that. They hold pretty tightly to the fact that they think they're a public ivy. And so it's kind of that weird in between of it being a state school but having a little bit smaller class. But I'm really glad that I did. And I wouldn't change the fact that I went to a state school because I really appreciated the flexibility that I got with that. There's just so many different options, so many different departments within the school, so many different schools within the university. That when I was going to realize that I didn't want to do pure architecture, pure designer, I had the ability to take different classes in a wide range of different things so I could figure out what that was. And from my personal experience, I don't know if I would have had that same ability in a smaller school where I would have felt like I was a little bit more along a path and needed to achieve that degree. So having the flexibility to take all those different classes allowed me to kind of inform future decisions that I was able to make.
I could listen to them all night. They're bringing so much goodness to it. Any burning bits of advice that you feel like you need to share as we wrap this up? And it's also okay to say, I think I said it, but I'm going to give you one last chance.
I guess a couple of things, really more steered towards the juniors here. For the schools that you're interested in, stay engaged with them. When representatives come to campus, go see them. You're going to get inundated with, we're having a webinar on X, Y, Z. Go to do the webinar.
take advantage of your campus visit, because schools track this. They're very sophisticated at this. And when it comes down, when they're making final decisions between student A and student B, if one shows a lot more engagement, you're likely to get the nod. So just something to keep in mind. And also, in thinking about something I said a couple minutes ago, is when it comes down to decision time, you've got your acceptances and you're trying to make that decision. I think a couple of things to think about is the academic journey that you want to take, and that's beyond your major. Think about, does the school offer the internships or research and faculty opportunities that are of interest to you and valuable to you? And then think about the university and how it speaks to the other parts of your life. I think it's the students that typically are most successful are those that aren't spectators but are engaged. And I think you students here, what you do matters, and you're looking to do things in the world that matter. So as you look at those universities, what are the things that they have that you can really engage in and be part of something bigger than yourselves? Whether it's volunteering opportunities, it's theater, it's being an athlete. There's so many different things you can get involved in, but think of it as a more holistic thing than just really focusing on a major, because it's so much more than that. And at the end of the day, when you get there, the more you put in, the more you're going to get out.
Yeah, I would just second that, and also just kind of keeping it open mind. Like I said, I really wanted to go out of state, and I ended up in state, and I wanted a school with tons of school spirit, and kind of in the city, large, and I always disregarded UT because it was Austin, and I didn't want to be here, and I didn't. I was like, I want to go anywhere else. But don't disregard school for its reputations. You think no one's heard of it because your friends say you shouldn't. If you want to go to school, if you want to apply there, you do the research in it, not just kind of some of those things like school size, school spirit, the environment, the opportunities that it provides you, the opportunities the city would provide you, things like that. If it matches those things that you want, apply, because that is what matters most is your college experience. And you just want to find a school that fits you in all parts. So you want to make sure that it's something that matches your personality, matches who you are. And you'll know that by kind of digging deep into some college research and figuring out what you like and what you don't like and what you're interested in. So definitely get started on that, because then that'll get the ball rolling on which schools you want to start applying to, and kind of maybe minimize that list.
So this suggestion came from a St. Andrews graduate. He was telling me that you should really pick a school that fits your personality, and what that really means is that if you've got a very introvert kind of personality, that it might be better for you to pick a big school, because then the choices for you to find a group that you're going to click with, there's just a lot of chances. If you go to a small school and then it turns out that you don't click with that group, you're going to have a miserable 4 years unless you transfer out. Whereas if you've got a very extroverted, very easygoing personality, then you can pretty much go to a small school and be happy. It's going to be the next 4 years of your life, so you want to have a great experience in college, and it's very important to find the friends. Well, my two kids, they picked the right school for their personality. They have lots of friends in college, and socially they're very happy. School-wise, it's very stressful, but at least on the social part, that part is so great. So that would be my one advice: pick the school that fits your personality, just like what you said.
Yeah, I think that was pretty well. Something like that.
Okay. Can we give a big round of applause? So there's another round of applause that we need to give, and it is to Ronella Farinall and Annie Lee and Gavin Moore, who are here filming. There's two seniors who couldn't be writing an essay, but they gave up time to support the class. as you go through this process with lots of other programs, information, newsletters, they're all coming your way. Please, 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 never hesitate to reach back out. If you receive something and you're like, that didn't make sense to me, or how did you think of something else? Just send an email our way. We'll find time to set up a meeting, we'll hop on a phone call, we'll reply to an email, and we are here for you. Sometimes the seniors, and I have two of them in the house right now, why are you talking to the juniors right now? We're doing awesome. And I have to remind them that we talked to them at this time last year too, and it's because you are waiting in the wings and you're starting this process too. You've already done a whole lot to get you to where you are now, and we're excited about finishing this up with you. My final thought is that there is a long-time college admissions officer, and he's always talked about the college process. And he said, I think sometimes people focus on the college being the prize. And he said, it's not. The students are the prize. And class of 2024, my words for you is you are literally the winners of our first field day here on campus at St. Andrews Colleges. We're about to get what we know, which is real winners in the class of 2024. So y'all, thanks for